Hi everyone, this is Paul here from the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm going to be doing the astrology report for the week commencing the 12th of September, outlining some of the key aspects that will be taking place this week and giving an overview of the kind of themes that we might expect to unfold this week. But before I do that, I just want to clarify, as I always do, that the astrology doesn't control our lives. It merely gives us a context to help us understand what is unfolding around us. It helps us understand what kind of spiritual lessons are there for us to be learning at this time, and what kind of direction consciousness is moving in, so that we can go with the work with the flow or the natural flow rather than trying to fight against it. But for anything to actually change, it requires us to take action and to embrace the process. It doesn't just happen automatically or happen to us. We have to participate and co-create with the process. Now, in terms of the aspects this week, I'll begin with the moon. She starts off in Libra, and this is a time of kind of building bridges with one another, of seeking greater harmony and balance within our relationships, whether they be romantic, whether they be like spouse, whether they be our friendships. But on the same day, the moon will move into Scorpio, and this gives us an opportunity to explore our deeper motivations, our true motivations for doing things. And it's also an opportunity to see what kind of old emotions or hurts come to the surface and old stagnant beliefs, and to let go of them rather than keeping hold of them. And this then clears out space in the psyche for new things to emerge. Before, on Saturday, the moon moves into Sagittarius and brings with it that thirst for new ideas, that thirst for new philosophies and expanding our worldview. And it's that desire to seek the truth and not take ourselves too seriously. And by embracing new belief systems, we tap into new ideas we hadn't thought of before. Before, on Monday, the moon moves into Capricorn, and this is a time for putting any new insights and ideas into practice, but also taking personal responsibility for how our lives are unfolding, and letting go or making the necessary changes that we need to in order to be more real with ourselves. Now, in terms of the aspects this week, key ones will be a sextile between Jupiter and Pluto. This is exact on Wednesday, but it's going to be present for the rest of the week and for most of the month. And this brings us the theme of exploring the shadow side, of learning to explore the deeper levels of issues, but it's recognizing the need to achieve a greater degree of self-understanding through knowing oneself. And the only way we can know ourselves is to explore our shadow side, to delve deep into the psyche and see what beliefs are hidden there, what are our deeper motivations or our true reason for doing things. Where are we still controlled by our shadow self, and where do we have either fear of being powerful or rather rejection of our own innate power, or where do we try and seek power over other people born out of insecurity? Whilst the Pluto side is also emphasising the need to be true to oneself through having the courage to let go of anything that isn't actually right for who we are, that for us to maintain it requires us to be fake and to undermine our own integrity and undermine our sense of self, and have the courage to make the necessary changes through achieving that deeper degree of self-understanding, and to learn to be more real and more authentic with ourselves. So if there's something we really want to do, it's having the courage to do it, but taking personal responsibility each and every step of the way. We also have a grand fixed cross in the sky. This is going to be from the 12th, Wednesday, up until Monday the 17th. This is made up of Uranus in Taurus, the North Node in Leo, Venus in Scorpio, and the South Node in Aquarius. Now, this formation brings with it the challenge of balancing the four areas. And the only place you can do that is to be centered in the middle. A lot of the time, when two things seem to be opposing one another, it's like we end up operating like a seesaw. Either we're at one end or the other, and I end up projecting the opposite end onto other people. We've got two of these going on. We've got this, obviously the natural opposition between north and south nodes, which is highlighting the challenge of elevating the level of consciousness of the south node through expanding our level of perception beyond the current level. But it's also moving beyond just having an open third eye, if you like, or having this knowledge. It's an understanding that knowledge on its own is useless. We have to apply it to our lives. We actually have to go through the necessary process of converting knowledge into practical wisdom. Otherwise, knowledge is nothing more than a set of ideas or facts in our head, and without context, we can end up using it in the wrong kind of way. So it's having that wisdom to expand our level of perception through letting go of rigid thinking patterns, letting go of tendencies to be aloof, and any tendency to just go with the crowd because we think other people know better than us, and having the courage to move beyond a purely mental way of seeing things, and having that courage to actually take action. To, if we have a dream that we want to manifest, then rather than constantly postponing out of a fear of not having enough information, it's having the courage to just take that step and allow the necessary information to come to us along the way. But no amount of information will ever get a project started. We actually have to have the courage to take that step. If we have a dream, the only way it's going to manifest is if we actually take action and pursue it. But it's also learning to engage play, so it's moving beyond that attitude of being aloof and cool, and instead embracing play, embracing creativity, embracing the fact that the creative process is often messy, but it's through play and creativity that we get to radiate our authentic selves. It's through play and creativity that we shine our own light, and we demonstrate to others that if we have the courage to pursue our dreams. But at a this also serves as a bit of a crossroad, because we have another opposition between Uranus and Venus, and this is almost exactly square to the nodal axis. So Uranus in Taurus is highlighting the need to expand our understanding of our resources, our values, but whilst Venus in Scorpio is also about a transformation of values, but it's letting old ones die and embracing or valuing authenticity rather than just pleasure and comfort. Because these are square to the nodal axis, we also need to look at where do we allow either a relationship or the pursuit of pleasure and comfort to distract us from doing things that we know that we should be doing, whilst the squares from Uranus highlight the need to see where do we feel like we have to be special to be something, where do we feel like we have a tendency to be aloof, and where do we feel like we have to know something or be more important than other people, and we end up being arrogant. But at a higher level, if we recognise the need that the only way you can actually actualise our North Node goals is to be true to who we are, this can be done through elevating the Uranian function, to learn to embrace change, and with the opposition to Venus, it's accepting that the nature of a relationship is naturally bound to change with the passage of time, and it's learning to not try and enforce old ways of being within relationships if the relationship needs to go through a major change. It's learning to deal with our relationships, or to engage with them in a way that encourages each person to become stronger and healthier versions of themselves through the individuation, self-realization process. It's recognizing that a truly strong relationship requires that both parties be given the freedom to learn who they are, to change who they are based on deeper insights of who they really are and shedding of the old self. And it's allowing relationships to go through the phoenix phase, where the old aspects of the relationship are burnt away, to allow a deeper level of relating based on being who we are and choosing to willfully engage in loving relationships with one another, rather than believing that we have to be in a relationship in order to be complete. It's transforming the relationship function itself through letting go of the more shallow levels of relating, and instead embrace a more authentic vulnerable form of relating, through recognizing that everything is interdependent. We're interconnected with everything around us and with everyone around us. So for our relations to be healthy, that interconnection and that essential unity that underpins apparent separation, if this is honoured in relationships, true harmony, which is the core desire of Venus in relationships, can emerge, where it's not based on one or both parties to pretend to be something that they're not, or having to be something that they're not in order to maintain the status quo. It's allowing both parties to learn deeper levels of the self and allow a more cohesive harmony to form based on truth and love rather than fear of change. Another aspect will be an opposition between Mercury in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces, which is exact on Thursday. Due to the speed Mercury moves, this aspect isn't necessarily going to be around particularly long, but this is a natural opposition between the two. Mercury is in his home sign of Virgo, Neptune is in his home sign of Pisces, which is retrograde. So this is highlighting the need to overcome any tendency to try and separate spirit and psychic or intuition from the physical realm, from the practical day-to-day aspects, and from the logic. It's learned to bring the two together, allow logic and intuition to work together and inform one another. Intuition sees the bigger picture, logic identifies how we can apply it, but it's also about health here, because Mercury in Virgo highlights the need for us to work on the rational mind, but we need to be very mindful here that we don't cultivate an attitude of, if you can't explain it with logic, then it doesn't exist. There's a lot of things that clearly exist, but we don't yet have a logical explanation for it, but there will be some kind of reasoning underpinning it. So this formation highlights the need for us to remember to balance the two, to bring logic and intuition together, to bring about a more holistic mindset that sees both the broad picture and the small details, the microcosm and the macrocosm. And the last thing that will take place this week is Vesta will be moving out of Sagittarius and back into Capricorn, having retrograded into Capricorn early in the year. So this is a move from a need to explore beliefs and live our lives aligned with the ones that are true to who we are, to a need to focus on integrity, of making sure that whatever we're building or whatever we choose to create in our life is not just based on aligning with the status quo, it's not just based on human laws, it's recognising the need that for anything to be truly lasting and valuable and to leave a lasting legacy, it must be guided by a higher power, it must be guided by spiritual laws, not just human laws. So it's recognising the need for us to achieve a great degree of integrity through living ourselves in alignment with the natural laws that govern everything. Because when we work in alignment with things, then whatever we're choosing to work on, whatever we want to manifest, stands a chance of manifesting without unintended consequences, because we're operating in alignment with the natural laws rather than trying to pursue things our own personal way. So overall, this week holds significant tests for us all. It holds the challenge of expanding our understanding of relationships to enable change to unfold, to enable that individuation process to unfold in both parties, and that change is a natural constant in life. Change is always going to be there, we can't stop it, so we may as well learn to work with it. And if we work on ourselves to embrace a higher degree of truth in our lives and live it out, through elevating our consciousness and recognizing the interconnected nature of all life, we can achieve a greater and true harmony where we're true to who we are, but we honour the interconnectedness of all life around us, because everything is interconnected whether we recognise it or not. And it's learn to make this our default mindset, to operate from the mindset of everything being interconnected. So whatever we do has potential to affect other people. So we need to make sure that whatever goals we set in life, whatever actions we're taking, are done with the understanding of the big, broader picture in mind, so that we're not creating karma for ourselves. We're not going to cause other people to suffer in the process. And this is also a good time. We're moving into the heart of this season fully, with some moving to Libra next week. But the more we work on dealing with the shadow now, the less work we give ourselves later on. So each opportunity we get to transform ourselves and renew our minds further, and each one that we take in order to empower ourselves, the more that we grow and the less work we have to do later on when the sun's going through these same areas. So this is a week of learning to centre ourselves, to see things clearly rather than trying to bounce from one area to another in order to keep things going. But it's also time for us to start exploring our shadow side, to recognise the need to undergo transformation where it's required, if we want to be able to keep going on any given path, or if we want to be following the path that's right for ourselves. We have to understand our own shadows, and we have to tackle any hidden agendas that we have and let go of them so they don't undermine the objectives that are right for our soul. It's transforming the ego through renewing the mind and having the courage to be who we are rather than pretending to be something that we're not, in order to get social approval or get brownie points, whatever you want to call it. So I hope this useful guide for this week. It holds a lot of potential for transformation, but the transformation will only happen particularly smoothly if we actually engage with the process and we actively pay close attention and be aware of the bigger picture and observe the deeper dynamics of things, rather than just looking at surface levels of reality. But fundamentally, we have to be honest with ourselves if we want anything to change. If we keep living in delusion, if we keep trying to tell ourselves one thing when deep down we know the truth is something else, then we're just causing ourselves more headache, and it's going to require more work later on. So I hope that's a useful guide for the week. May it be much transformation and blessings. Take care, and may you be blessed.